Hi.
Hey Marissa, how are you?
Good. Doing very well. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. How's how's your day going so far?
It's
Busy?
been pretty well.
Yeah.
It's 6 p.m. here on the East Coast, so I'm no longer at the winery, but it's nice to relax for a little bit. So,
Sure. Sure. Um, so we'll just get right into it. First, if you don't mind, if you could just tell us a little about you, your story, and we'll kind of start there.
sure. So, I grew up in a really small town. It's called Lowville. It's in Northeast Ohio, and it's a very Italian-centric community. And my grandparents immigrated to the U.S. from Italy and settled in Lowville in the 50s. And I grew up and with having so much great memories with friends and family, just celebrating food and wine, just part of the culture, and it's something that I really cherish. Looking back on my childhood and growing up and realizing that I needed to figure out what my career. I never imagined that you could be in the wine industry as a actual profession. I thought it was more of a hobby. But my father founded a winery in 2001 called Movabella Winery, and with that, I was able to see you could really turn something that you're passionate about into a actual business. So after doing some research and getting some experience in the industry, I decided to pursue winemaking full time.
Cool. Cool. So that takes us kind of into Redhead Wines. What's the story with Redhead Wines?
Yeah, so there's a lot of backstories, but I think like the better way I could
Sure.
explain this is to make a whole overview. I was interning at my parents' winery in 2013, and they asked me to redesign some of their labels. And I always thought having a redhead label would be really interesting, just make it really bold and eye-catching. So I designed a label which is actually the current label now. The first design iteration is what we settled with, and I created a blend that's lightly sweet, not too sweet though, and a little spicy to match the branding of the label. And I then realized that while studying at Cornell University, you had to complete a capstone project to graduate. So I asked my professors, like, hey, can I propose if I use this label I designed and bring it to market and just document the process and explain the winemaking behind it? Could that qualify for the capstone? And they said yes. So that's kind of how Redhead really got started, but a lot of other events happened to kind of catapult it into a business. It was more of a project when it first started, though.
Sure. And now there's somewhere in there that included free hot wings, right?
Yes. Um, I absolutely loved Wings Over Ithaca. It's a little wing shop on campus, and they had really wonderful high quality wings. And there is an email sent over that if you are a student entrepreneur and wanted free wings from Wings Over, head to this meeting. And I didn't really look at the details, but I was like, okay, I'm hungry, I have this bottle of wine on campus with me, let's head over and just kind of check it out and get the food and leave. Well, um
Sure.
I had a bottle of wine, I have red hair, and a pile of wings on my plate. I was then discovered and could not just peace out when I figured out that you had to give an elevator pitch as part of the meeting. And I just panicked. I quickly Googled wine industry facts and um, slapped something together. I really wasn't sure how to pitch, but I just kind of figured out like a few things to say why I created the business and why it would do well in the industry. And my college within Cornell selected me as their Student Business of the Year nominee because of that whole situation. So I was like, okay, now this has to be a business, although it was just a project. And I had my friend Matt Curtis, who was at the hotel school. He had a lot of connections to professors who understood business and who could mentor me to pitch and just kind of gathering some of those outline details and practicing. I learned that Redhead could actually be a business, and that's what I want to pursue.
Cool. Cool. So now, what wines do you have available currently?
So right now for the Redhead line, I only have two, which is a Redhead Red Blend. It's a Carmenere and Zinfandel. It's very smooth and fruit forward. Carmenere is typically grown in South America, but there's some places in California that have a similar climate. So I was able to source the Carmenere from California, and I also am using a Zinfandel from Lodi. So it's just a really well balanced wine and something a little more unique than a typical red blend that you would see with just like a Cabernet and a Petit Syrah or a Pinot Noir. And I also have a sweet rosé that I'm releasing very soon. But I am really looking into developing other brands as well. So I've been helping Lubabella's brands grow just because I really want to utilize all of my enjoyment for all kinds of winemaking styles. Um, so I'm not just always working on Redhead, but Redhead is always going to be my baby and something that I'm always going to put out there.
Great. Um, Plans for the future of the brand or either brand
Yes, definitely
that you can share?
expansion. Although we've been in business officially since 2016 for Redhead, I'm only selling in 3 states, but in about 2,000 stores, which that sounds like a lot, but it really isn't when it comes to wine. You really need to be in more locations and states. So I'm in conversation to expand to Virginia, West Virginia, as well as Kentucky this year. It's just a super long process, and you got to make sure that each partnership is the right fit for each other because once you
Sure.
sign with the distributor, after 90 days, they have rights to your products unless you want to sue them and it gets ugly. So it's a really meticulous process that you want to take care of because it's pretty much like a marriage. So that's definitely in line, but I plan on taking over my family's winery and bring it to the new level and helping share wine with more people that way.
Cool. That's exciting stuff. Um, Business wise, which is kind of what we've been discussing, anyways, how was it tackling the wine business, as tough as it is? What
Very.
was it like tackling it at a younger age than most people probably would?
Honestly, I kind of went into it fearless and a little naive. I really didn't realize how competitive it was. I
Yeah,
obviously knew there was a lot of competition, but I didn't really understand how many layers of competition I had to deal with. And what I mean by that is one, competition with yourself. Are you skillful enough to design a successful brand in a wine that is equally delicious to outlast any other wines on the shelf, but also getting shelf placement in stores and restaurants. You have to go through either corporate retailers or mom and pops or many other avenues in between, as well as getting distribution. When you start really small, it's really hard to get the attention of distributors because their product book is eons long, and why are you worthy of their time? And of
sure.
course it has to be value added both ways, but it's really difficult when you don't have any representation like we didn't back in 2012. We signed with a distributor in I think late 2013, so that was a huge challenge. But once you kind of get that ball rolling and it becomes larger and larger, you have more data, you're able to communicate that story of success. So you're able to showcase that you do have a history. People are enjoying your products. Your wines are winning awards at wine competitions and showcasing that your brand is able to grow beyond maybe the few counties that your winery reaches or a few states. It really depends on all that. But long
Sure.
story short,
Um,
it was a challenge, but I'm glad I'm learning the
it's
whole
worth it.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth it. Um, any advice for young people looking to get into business, whether it's wine or something else? Do you have any advice that you could give for them?
Well, for me, it's all about trial and error. So I feel like anyone else that I could put myself in their shoes, you really got to figure out one, what type of career do you want to have? And two, what are you passionate about? And how could you build your passion in your career as something unified and you can move forward where you are waking up every day and super happy with what you're doing, but you're still able to, support yourself and reach your goals financially and, of course, personally. And it's really about having that honest conversation with yourself. What do you actually like to do? Not what you think people want you to do, but actually what you personally, truly, deeply want to do. And the moment that you realize that, you really need to figure out how you can actually monetize that. Do you love fashion? Are you gonna start your own fashion line? Are you gonna go to school for it? Are you gonna start your own vintage resale shop, or are you gonna start your own wine brand? There's so many things you can do, even just reselling on Amazon.
Sure.
With very simple things that could bring you joy. You don't have to build something from scratch, but as long as you're happy, it's definitely a start for success.
Sure. Yeah, that passion for what you do is extremely important. Now, that's probably part of it, but do you have some tips for success um, aside from some of the stuff that you just mentioned?
Well, for me, just to think about anyone who's watching and something you could really practically take, um, if you want to connect with more people, I really suggest using LinkedIn. I feel like so many people aren't utilizing LinkedIn to its full potential still, and we're in 2020. For me, I have found a lot of success finding people in the industry I want to connect with, adding them on LinkedIn, sending them a personal note that's actually personal, not I would like to add you to my network. Like, read
Right.
an article. If they're a writer for a magazine you'd like to get ink in, follow their stories for a couple months and really showcase you've actually followed what they're putting out there, and write that personal note. They will connect with you.
Sure.
And over time, really post about yourself, what your career goals are, or any achievements, so that person could get to know you from a distance instead of directly DMing them as soon as they accept your request and asking for a favor. Almost build that relationship from the sideline, and then that person will feel comfortable perhaps helping you because they see that you have a reputation or you are serious and uh, someone that's worth their time. So definitely LinkedIn. That's a great start, but I really think it's just showing up. Social media is great, but of course, with COVID, um, taking away the ability to go to networking events is difficult, but there are a lot of virtual chat hours, a lot of virtual networking events, even Instagram lives. You can hop on anyone's live. I know a lot of the Shark Tank entrepreneurs have been doing live Instagram chats. Just ask questions, try to put yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable and try to make those connections. But showing up to networking events in person when we are able to is a huge opportunity. You never know who you're going to meet. I've met so many amazing people that have helped me get to where I am today because I decided to put down my remote and shut off Netflix and go out to an event. It's
Sure.
hard sometimes, but the more you push yourself, the more you're going to learn.
Yeah, networking is definitely a huge asset when it comes to part of your growth plan or even your marketing plan, I think. We have a couple of questions here. I'm going to go ahead and take those real quick
Sure.
since we're talking about lives and interacting. Um, let's see. Let's go with Lee's thoughts. Can you see that there?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ohio does not jump out as wine country, or does it? I think of California typically. Is it more difficult to be in the wine business in Ohio than California?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, yes and no. Right now, at least in the past, I've been able to talk to retailers in Ohio that were local, but also communicate the story that although we are located in Northeast Ohio, we are purchasing grapes from vineyards out in California. We're using a grape broker to make sure we're sourcing the best quality year over year. We're really a semi-local winery where we're only making California style and California quality products, but we're offering them more on the East Coast. So that's really been helpful to grow, and we've really tried to communicate that story so people understand that's our business model, and we're not just a local winery growing grapes on our um, acreage we have on the property. We're actually buying the same grapes that large commercial wineries are utilizing out in California. And I think that's why we've been able to overcome some of those barriers, because a lot of retailers or customers have asked us that very question.
Mm-hmm.
And once they taste the wine, they've really been able to realize that we are a player worth paying attention to.
Cool. Cool. Let's see what else we have here. Okay. Are you guys currently, can they get your wine in Minnesota? I think we kind of answered that.
So I should have memorized all of the states that we could legally ship to. Right now, we're using a platform called Vino Shipper, and we're legally able to ship to 18 states through them. But right now, I'm looking at other platforms to help service states that we don't have the legal license to ship. Unfortunately, alcohol is regulated by the federal and state government, so there's a lot of red tape. Like, for example, in Arkansas, you could only sell wine below a certain percentage by volume in stores, versus New York, you could only send wines to the state if you have the license to ship it to, or bond to bond. So if I'm shipping a sample to a winery in New York and they have a legal license, I'm legally allowed to do that. So it's complicated, but I believe we can ship to Minnesota on Vino Shipper. So I will have to definitely drop the link and get back to you on that.
There you go. Yeah, and I'll leave some information and stuff as well that people can reach out to you at. Let's see. There's one here by
Yeah,
running
I
on
see it.
books.
It's my friend Dan from school. Let's see. Being the owner of a business is tough. What have I been enjoying about it being a business owner? It's a double-edged sword. There's a lot of risk, but a lot of reward. But I think it's more being able to build something I have had in my mind from scratch and really see it come to life, and also provide um, jobs and futures for families that are a part of the company. It's really great to be able to um, support my community with jobs through the growth of the business. So not only is like the creative, um, risky entrepreneurial side of me fulfilled, but also paying it forward by paying my employees fairly and being able to hire more people year over year as we expand. So
That's great. That's got to be a huge. That's going to be exciting part of business for you. Um, Anything else that you think you might want to add? I know we were going to talk a lot about wine, and we got a
yeah,
lot more into the business end of it. But if there's anything you'd like to add, now I know you do a wine of the month, right?
yes.
So would you like to talk about that at all?
Yeah, so right now we're actually trying to revamp our wine club. So there should be some changes in the next couple weeks. But right now, if you're part of our wine club, we're doing some exclusive deals for our wine of the month that we pick every month. So everyone that's on the list gets some exclusive access and, of course, some deals. And we really try to offer some real value to our loyal customers through that program. And so far, it's been really successful and something I'm really excited about. I believe we are picking our new line of wine called Vino Borealis. It's a brand to help highlight hybrid varietals that are not typically seen in the market, but they're on the rise to popularity. And a lot of these varietals, I believe a lot of our customers may not have even experienced before. And we're going to offer two of the great varietal wines exclusively to them. We have not released our Traminette or Riesling to the public, but we have offered our Chambourcin and Chardonnay. So if you are interested in trying these wines, they are up on our website for purchase, or available at the winery. But I know a lot of people are trying to avoid traveling, so
Yeah.
you might want to try the online option.
And where can they find that? What's the website for that?
It's www.luvabella.com. I could type it in the comments
Yeah.
here on
Yeah. We
that.
will do that. We can pin it. We'll go ahead and pin it on there so that they'll see it.
Okay, yeah, everyone's getting a close up of my face right now. I think I saw a couple more comments come
Yeah, there's
through.
a few. I'm looking at those while you're typing. Um,
Okay, there we go. Okay, so see, my friend Paul, hi Paul, asked, are you going to release a sweet dessert line of redhead wine? I have been asked this a few times. For me, I'm not 100% sure. It's not off the table, but right now I have been in discussion with doing a redhead reserve. It's been delayed a little bit for a few reasons, but For me, if I ever release a product, I want to be 100% comfortable and proud to share it with people. So we are working on some new stuff. So definitely stay tuned, and don't worry, Paul. I'll make sure you know you're in the loop.
And Nancy Nunn says, "Hey, this has been great. So glad I came across it. Thanks. We're glad you found us."
Yeah, thank
Um,
you. I appreciate it.
yeah, anybody that's watching, thank you. If you have any questions, drop them in there or drop them in the question box, and we'll be on for a couple more minutes. How has we get into a bit of the social media end of it? How has social media been an asset for you as a brand? I know I found you on TikTok, and
Yes.
I know everybody talks about TikTok, and Gary Vee preaches TikTok. But how is social media as a whole? And we can break them down individually if you'd like. But how has that been an asset for you?
I mean, you can connect with anybody, anywhere, at any time. It's just all about finding the right path to that person, or just kind of running into each other, just like you and I did on TikTok. I at least with that new platform, it's been really explosive. Everyone's on it. Everyone's, for the most part, pretty kind. I've had a lot of hate comments on some of my videos, but it's really taught me a lot about myself and how to deal with people who are just trying to pick a fight. Um, but overall, social media has really brought my business to new levels because I've been able to utilize it to share my story, share wine education, teach people how to start businesses or learn about the wine industry. I just feel like a mission in my journey is just to help people get where they want to go, either it be business advice or career. That's why I'm an entrepreneur in residence at Cornell University, or I pretty much answer any DM on my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, as long as it's coming with kind intentions, because I feel like someone out there has an amazing dream and goal and idea, but they don't have anyone to support or believe in them. And I just know that if I could be that person for somebody, show them kindness, listen to them, take them seriously, it could make a world of a difference in that person's life. And when I found the right group of people that supported me, my whole life changed. So I want to definitely pay that forward.
That's great. And yes, I did say I found her on TikTok. No, I'm not doing dances and renegade dances and stuff on there. I'm mostly connecting, and it did work. And she does answer her DMs. I can tell you that she does.
I
Um,
try my best.
yes, yes. Remember, yeah, she's very busy. Remember that.
So is everybody else, but I always
Yeah,
try to make time.
yeah. Um, that's all I've got. Um, I guess we can end on that. If anybody has any other questions, we'll hang out just for a second and see if anybody has anything else. Otherwise, thank you everybody for coming on.
Yeah,
Thank you, Marisa. I really appreciate taking the time, and hopefully, we'll get to see your wine
yeah.
nationwide sooner than later.
Hey, everything comes in due time. I'm just
Yes.
going with the flow, doing the best that I can, and I don't want to rush the process. I feel like if you
Okay.
try to grow too quickly, it's just when the whole world crumbles. But for me, I'm just really grateful to be where I'm at, and I know I wouldn't have gotten Redhead in all kinds of stores, and people wouldn't be enjoying the wine without all the support that I've had. So I'll never not give tribute to that, and just having good attitude, even when things don't go my way. You just got to take a deep breath and realize that there's a way around it, and just got to be patient.
We're going to end on that note because that's a really great note to
Thank you.
end on. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate everybody's time that was here. And until next time, thank you.